Kaphar is a Hebrew word meaning to atone for your debts. It is a verb. So how does the West count and measure and obtain its wealth and get rid of its debt? Wait till the end.
Government seems to be at least as secret as any corporation, if not more so. They do have something to hide. It's called the Kaphar. The Kaphar is the name for the financial accounts of any public agency. It stands for Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, and it is standard to all government agencies. Your courthouses have them, school districts have them, city, county, and state governments all have Kaphars. But up until recently, hardly anyone except government insiders have even heard of the Kaphar. The hard numbers are in the Kaphar. This is true reporting of all accounts, flows, and holdings. When media reports anything about public finance, this is what they should be talking about. But you may have noticed they only seem to talk about this thing called the budget. The budget is something very different. For government, the budget is not so much an accounting tool as a propaganda hallucination. A budget is a projection, a goal, a target. In accounting terms, the budget is referred to as inferior to the Kaphar accounts. Suppose your county has $1 gazillion in the Kaphar. Now say they budget $1 million for mosquito abatement. Now they've decided to go into those Kaphar accounts and set aside $1 million. The media tells us the county budgeted $1 million for mosquito abatement, but they don't tell us, they don't mention the $1 gazillion remaining in the Kaphar accounts from which they are dispensing the $1 million. We sit here and believe that when they spend that $1 million, there will be nothing left. They have us thinking that the budget is all there is. While we are duped into thinking government is broke, they are sitting on, in this case, nearly $1 gazillion in many special off-budget accounts, and you don't see that unless you look at the Kaphar. So now what happens if mosquito abatement goes over budget and costs $2 million? Well, since you and I don't know about the Kaphar and that gazillion sitting in the accounts, the nightly news comes crying to us, telling us the county has gone over budget, run out of money, and they need to raise taxes or borrow to pay the extra $1 million for the mosquito abatement. Remember, your media does not audit the Kaphar. They just say whatever government says. So here's a real-world example of Kaphar magic. In 2007, the County of Los Angeles had an operating budget of $17.5 billion. In 2007 was the beginning of a protracted recession. Government was constantly complaining about budget shortfalls, austerity, belt-tightening, robbing Peter to pay Paul, and the necessity to raise taxes. LA County raised its operating budget from $17.5 billion to $25.8 billion. They're projected to spend 47% more in 2012 than 2007. In the middle of a recession, where did that money come from? They moved money around in the Kaphar, and presto, they came up with $8 billion more per year out of thin air. So this business of borrowing and raising taxes makes no sense at all once we know about what those special funds are hiding in the Kaphar.
Breaking news. So you're telling me the majority of America and Europe's GDP is not what they produce, but based on what they believe is under the soil of Africa?
We must stop those countries that count their wealth and their assets in terms of the minerals that reside in the African soil, like they did in the past when they counted their wealth. They used to count their wealth in the number of slaves that they owned, that were taken from the African continent. Respect and mutual benefit should underpin what we as Africa do as we relate to other countries in the world. African countries should, as sovereign states, be able to also pursue their own independent foreign policy approaches that are not beholden to any other major global power or blocs.